Hey, and welcome to Tana Fundamentals. I'm Lucas, I'm a product manager and creator, and in this first video of my Tana Fundamentals series, you'll get an overview of how Tana works before we jump into the details in later videos. We'll cover outliner features, links and references, fields, searches and live feeds, super tags, and how all of this comes together with AI. On the surface, Tana looks like a normal outliner the first time you open it, but it's way more powerful than that. Every day you get a fresh note like you can see here. This is like a blank piece of paper that you can just put on whatever comes to mind. So if I type here, for example, weekly team meeting, and every time that you hit enter you get a new note, and if you hit tab you can indent these under each other, focus going faster, and shift tab unindents them, of course, and at any point you can focus into a note which makes it appear like a fresh page with a nice big title, and then you can add more content here, and that's it. So far so good. Those are basic outliner features. So what makes Tana so much more powerful than an outliner? The first thing is that you can link to and reference any note you've written anywhere else. And so why is that useful? Let's say I had a couple of meetings a couple of days ago where I took some notes on things we need to do, like here. So I'm going back to Wednesday, and here we have the notes that I took for a product strategy meeting with a couple of tasks. And now today, it's a couple of days later, and I'm in another meeting, and we're checking in to see what happened to the action items. So let me create a note for the current meeting, weekly product review here, and I'm going to focus into it, and I can pull in the information from that previous product strategy meeting in two ways. The first is that I simply type at and then type product strategy, or just product here, and select the note from Wednesday from a couple of days ago from the drop down by typing enter. And this will pull in that note completely. I can expand and collapse its contents like I can with any other note. And I can also make changes here. Like I can mark Q1 2025 with a bold type, and this will show up in the original location as well. So if I go up here and go back to Wednesday, you see here Q1 2025 is bold here as well. The other way I can pull in the product strategy meeting is by linking to it. If I make a new note here and make that a checkbox by typing command and enter, and then type review progress on tasks from, and then do at product strategy meeting, I get a normal link to that note. But if I shift click that link, it will expand in place, and I can view everything inside that note and do the same changes like I did before. So I can here unbold this part, and that will again show up in the original location as well. And that means you'll never have to jump around and find things again where they were. You can just pull them to where you are right now in your workspace and continue working on them, which is super nice. The second thing is that you can add information about a node by using fields. We can add to the product strategy meeting node, for example, a field that records who attended that meeting. To do that, I'm indenting here a new note under the title node product strategy meeting. Then I press the larger than sign, and this creates a field. We can then name that field attendees, for example, or select from already existing fields using the dropdown. And here we can enter the name of every attendee as new note. So I can type here Peter, Amy, and James, for example. Another place where additional information might be useful is for every task that we have here. We probably want to record who a task was assigned to, and we can solve this as well with fields. So under each task, we indent a new note and type the larger than sign, and then name the field assigned to, for example, and then I can @reference the name of the person who got this task assigned. So Peter here, Amy, James. What's great is that when we focus in on each person, down here we have a reference section that shows everywhere this note was linked. And for Peter, we see here that he was an attendee in this meeting and got this particular task assigned. You see, this is really handy because it allows you to define a relationship between different notes through the use of fields. Powerful now and more powerful later when we talk about searches. The third thing is that you can turn notes and fields into things by using supertags. For example, each of these notes here has a checkbox and is more than just a note. It represents a thing, a task. And as we've set it up here, every task has one attribute, who it is assigned to. It would be really annoying if we had to manually add this field to every single note that we want to be a task. And that's what we can use supertags for. So behind every task, we can just type #task. And when we hit enter, the task supertag is applied. And we can do that for multiple nodes at once as well, of course. Just select them, type hashtag, and then task, and that gets assigned. And as you can see, this immediately adds a bunch of other fields to this note. So status and due date and related project. You can also see that the assigned to field that we created has a different color than these fields. It's gray. And that means it's an independent field that is not part of the supertag. Fields always have the same color as the supertag that they belong to. To make the assigned to field part of the supertag, we simply right-click on the field icon and then select Add to Template, the option here. You see, this gets already then assigned to every preceding supertag. And if we create a new tag, and if we tag this node here with task as well, that now has the assigned to field as well. This field gets added too. Now, task is a supertag you already have in your Tana workspace by default. But you can always create new supertags just as easily as applying existing ones. For example, our three folks here are people, so I could use the already existing person tag, but I can also say that these aren't generic persons, but they are colleagues. So we are going to use a special tag for that. We're going to call this the colleague supertag. So if I type here hashtag colleague, I can create and apply colleague to Peter, and of course I can apply this to Amy and James too. As you saw, just typing colleague and hitting enter will create that new tag and immediately apply it. And now here's the crazy part. If I still want to use all the fields that are in the person supertag, I can simply make the colleague supertag an extension of the person supertag. To do that, I go into configure supertag by right-clicking here and then selecting configure supertag, and then in the content template here, extend from and type person. And you see here that pulls in the fields from the person supertag into the content of the colleague supertag. If I close this and expand here, you see these fields are now available on every colleague. This lets you build really powerful setups, and we'll get to that in another video, which I'll link up here. For now, let's look at the fourth thing that makes Tana super overpowered, searches or live feeds. If you click any super tag, Tana will show you a list of every note that has this super tag and its fields as columns. So if I go to task here, click this and go to all task, you see here every note that has the tag applied and the fields as columns. And you can sort and filter this list to your heart's content and save that as new searches. So if we say, for example, we'll mark this task as completed, and up here I can filter and say where the status is to do, and this gets filtered out. And now I can save this as a new search. Call this open tasks, and the same is for the tasks super tag already configured. We have all tasks here. We're going to reset that filter. Here is all the completed tasks and current tasks, and you see here we even have a different view type, a Kanban board, where you can like move all these task notes from one status to another. One thing we can do is, for example, also to view all of these tasks not as a table but as a list, and then group these by who they were assigned to, right? And now I have all the tasks that are assigned to Peter, to Amy, and to James as a nice list, and up here those where no one is assigned as not defined. But you aren't limited to the super tags themselves to create and use searches. At any point in your workspace, you can create a search by simply typing a question mark. And that will bring up a query editor where you can build very powerful searches. For example, let's build here on today's note a search that looks for all the tasks that have a due date of today. We type the question mark and then click create search node, and then we jump into here and type task. Then we type larger than and add the due date field here and set it to today, and boom, this will pull in all the tasks that are due today. We've set this here in the due date field, and if I change this, make this due next week sometime, you see here this item no longer matches the filter query. If I click this, it gets pushed out. They can also rename this search node here, of course, as due today. Tana can also build location-aware searches, though. Instead of today, we can use parent. And as long as our note is directly below today's note, so not indented any further, it will figure things out and pull in the right tasks too. So I can change this here and write parent, click done, and all these two tasks still show up. What's even more powerful is that this location awareness extends to everything. So let's go into the note of one of our colleagues here. And I'm going to create a search node by typing a question mark. And then I'm going to look for tasks and put here the assign to field and type parent here, and this will pull in the task that was assigned to Peter. And that means Tana will show you all the tasks where this colleague is mentioned in the assigned to field. We can even move this search into the template section of the super tag itself, so that now every colleague gets this search automatically. And because we use parent, it will work. So if we do here, assign tasks, and then right click and add to template content, right? This search is now red, as is the colleague tag. And if I go to Amy, she also now has the assigned task super tag search, and this pulls in the task that is assigned to her. All of this because with the parent here in the search term, it always applies to the parent node of this node here. And that again makes it a really powerful location aware search that works everywhere. I think what's important to note here is that you can also see these searches as live feeds, if you will. Anytime that you add a node somewhere that is a task and is assigned to this colleague, this will update immediately live. So you have a continuously up-to-date feed no matter what you're building. The fifth thing that makes Tana truly overpowered is the way it integrates AI into your workspace. On the Tana core plan, you have a chatbot directly at your fingertips. You press space in an empty node and you get an AI chat that you can use to ask questions just like you would ask ChatGPT. So if I go back to today's note, I collapse these things and create a new node for the chat example. Let's go in here and I type space and I ask it here, what are the main elements in a SWOT analysis, for example. Well, you get the answer directly in your Tana workspace. No need to switch context to a ChatGPT window or something else. And you also have the answer directly ready to reuse if you want. But that really is only the start. What makes Tana stand out is how easy it is to get AI help with the content that's already in your workspace. So let's, for example, say that you need to write a bi-weekly investor update about everything that's been happening in the company. Let me create a couple of projects that we've been working on. So we have 3 projects here. Roll out a single sign-on that was successful. We did that. We wanted to improve the conversion rate from trial to paid, and we improved it by 3%. And we re-engineered the geospatial stack, and now queries are 10% faster or whatever. And these nodes obviously could be anywhere in my workspace. Put these in here and hide them. And now we're going to create a live search where we're looking for any project, right? And that pulls in these 3 projects that we did. Again, we rolled out SSO, we improved the conversion rate from trial to paid users, and we re-engineered the geospatial stack. Having this like completed, done projects as an auto-updating live feed is of course already useful and makes it work easier. But with AI, we can make this even better. So if I create a new node, investor update, and I create a new search here by typing space, and then ask AI to write a first draft of the investor update based on the done projects. Only list what we did, don't link back to it. And as you saw, I just had to mention this node here, right? The done project. And now if I click here on send, what's going to happen is Tana is going to write and summarize what happened in those projects based on the information contained in them. So it pulls in that information live and uses it as the context to answer that query. Boom, first draft written. And that's pretty insane, right? And I'm sure you can already see where else you can apply this. The possibilities really are endless. The cool thing is that Tana can do this, but it also can help you do the reverse, right? Instead of summarizing things, it can create new items and tag them automatically using AI. So you can dictate, for example, directly into Tana by using the capture voice note command. So if I go in here and I hit Command K and search for capture voice memo, and then I can start dictating. I need to talk to James about the YouTube series we're doing for marketing. Also talk to Theo in engineering about the priorities for Q1 and send out the investor update ASAP. And then we do Command and K again, search for stop voice capture, and Tana does its thing. It transcribes what I've said and it automatically extracts any relevant tasks that it finds and tags them, right? So if I go in here, this is the original transcript, but it also has created and automatically tagged tasks. Here, this it hasn't. I can go in and use that suggestion though, and it has the investor update ASAP. It got right on the first try. This becomes even more powerful when you consider that this happens with any voice note you capture on the go on your phone as well. And more on that in another video in the series. Now, we've covered a lot of ground in this video, yet we've still just scratched the surface of what Tana can do. Automations, more AI, the mobile app, integrations with your calendar, Zoom calls, and lots more we'll cover in the next videos in this series. In the very next video, we'll take a deeper dive into Supertags and what you can do with them. So see you there. Bye bye.